Hi, this is Dave. I'm going to replace the crankshaft position sensor on a 2010 Hyundai Sonata. The reason I'm putting this video together is because there is absolutely nothing out there on the internet that tells you where this sensor is at and gives you any direction on how to replace it. I've already replaced the sensor, and I didn't think about putting the video together until after the fact. But like I said, there was nothing out there, so I thought I'd throw something together. I'm not a master mechanic or anything, but I am moderately mechanically inclined and was able to kind of figure out where it was at. This is what the old sensor looks like. And so this is the part that fits into the engine. The location of it is back behind the engine, between the engine and the firewall, and it's back down in here. Okay, so I'm going to show you real quick how to get to that. You can see right here is where the electrical contact connection is, and it's just right here. Can you get that, Reagan? Mm-hmm. All right here. And what you do is you can slide that connection. There's like a little clip. All right, and you can slide that out, okay, and then there's a little U-clip, kind of a spring-loaded U-clip that fits on there, and you just very carefully, with a pair of pinch nose pliers or regular pliers or a screwdriver, you can just snap that out. You can see there's one end of it right there, there's the other end of it right there, so it's kind of open-faced, and it just snaps into a set of channels right there. And but be careful not to lose it. So hang on to it while you pull it out, because it will come out with some degree of force there. It'll pop out of there if you're not careful. Then you just separate those two, all right? And then you'll notice on here there was a little Christmas tree bracket, or a clip and lock bracket, or a push and lock snap that locates on there, and that is located on the back side of this bracket. And it's fortunate there's some extra holes there, because I broke the one trying to pull it out. It didn't want to come out, and you can't get to the back side of it to push it out. And I tried to use some long needle nose pliers to pull it out, and I couldn't. So I ended up putting the new Christmas tree clip or push and lock clip into a different hole that wasn't being used. So the way you get to this, best way, remove these 3 bolts here on this heat shield, and they're just held in with 10mm screws. Remove the heat shield, okay? And then on the back side here, back behind the engine, and the tools you probably want to do this, if you have a set of long needle nose pliers, that's great. A smaller standard blade screwdriver. I just have a 1/4-inch ratchet and an adapter, and then my 10mm socket, and then I also have a 1/4-inch drive extension. Now there's one more plate, and it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to see if you can actually see it with this mirror. This is another tool that's kind of handy to have. But you can see kind of the edge of that plate right there. Can you see that, Reagan?
Yes.
All right. And so there's 2 bolts that hold that in. There's one 10mm bolt right there that you can kind of see. And then there's a 12mm bolt back there that you can get to. And you pull that off. You undo those 2 bolts and you pull that off, and you will be able to see, if you have a mirror like this, the actual sensor end of the plug. And you can see that fits into the block. And there's an O-ring on it that helps seat it, because obviously it's exposed to oil and so forth. When you go to pull that out, that's going to sit in there like this, in this position, in that opening. And then there's a 10mm bolt that holds it in place. So when you remove that 10mm bolt, and that's kind of where you're going to want to have some sort of an extension. This extension is actually probably a little bit long. One that's maybe about 4 inches would work better. And remove that 10mm bolt, being very careful not to drop it, all right? Because if it falls, you'll have a hard time getting to it. And then the best thing to do is to just twist this sideways, because it will turn in there. So you just kind of grab this and twist it sideways. Then you can get some leverage with your fingers and it'll pop right out. but it takes a little bit of force to get it to pull out. Then when you put the new one in, kind of do the same thing, push it in the opening, push it until you hear it, till you push the O-ring past the seat, and it'll kind of pop into place. And then you can rotate it, and then you don't have to worry about lining anything up because the 10mm bolt lines it up perfectly with that one bolt hole. And so you just tighten that back up, put the little heat shield back on that's back in here, put this heat shield back on, and you're good to go. And that's how you replace the crankshaft position sensor on a 2010 Hyundai Sonata 2.4 liter engine.